Hello and welcome to the Let's Chat podcast. My name is Reagan, and if you're listening to this, you're probably just one of my friends, maybe a family member or two. Um, but if you're not a friend or family member, welcome. Love to have you. The name is in the works, okay? Everything is in the works. Even the level I'm speaking is in the works because I have a feeling that this is gonna hurt people's ears a little bit. The setup also in the works. I used to have a ring light and a whole camera setup back in my YouTube days. I don't know where they are. So if you could see what the camera is sitting up on right now, it's comedic. It's insane. Yeah, so I thought today, actually let me get a few things out of the way. First thing, I'm sick of hearing the word yap. I'm so sick of hearing the word yap. However, I love to yap. So that's why I did this, because I was I love to talk, and I love to talk about myself. If you say that you don't like to talk about yourself, you're lying. You're lying. You are lying. Tell me it is not the most exciting and fun time whenever you can tell a story about yourself and people care and listen. Even if they don't care or are not listening, I'm still going to tell it, you know what I mean? So anyways, also I'm going to try to not breathe in the camera. Same, I can hear myself. The headphones are crazy, and I'm going to try not to do an ASMR whole deal, even though I kind of want to, because it's crazy to hear yourself talk. Okay, anyways, I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. See, I'm trying not to breathe into the microphone. Okay, anyways. So, I had to write notes because I have a little bit of an undiagnosed ADHD. Undiagnosed meaning I've literally never even brought that up at any medical appointment of any sort, or even to a therapist, but lately I've been really thinking of ADHD. So on that note, I wrote everything down. I'm going to try to stay on topic of this first episode. I'm hoping everything technically goes well, because I did in fact film for 45 minutes yesterday, and about a topic. I'm going to come back and revisit that topic another episode, but I literally just cannot talk about it for 45 minutes again, because I'm sick of it. Basically, I talked about parasocial relationships and being chronically online since I was little, and how that's affected me now, and how I still am in parasocial relationships and stuff like that. So, but I'm going to come back to that on another episode. I just needed something new. So I decided I wanted to start on a more lighthearted topic, because I have some really good ideas for other topics and other videos and such. But I think they might be a little bit too dark for just starting out, So today I'm going to be talking about my long, beautiful, traumatic job history. So let's get started. And I feel really bad for my close friends that know every bit of information on this, but I tend to lie in story time sometimes. When I tell stories, sometimes I exaggerate and lie a lot. So it's you're getting a new story every time, that sounds really problematic, but it's the truth, okay? It's the truth. I don't lie about some things, and I don't lie about my ability to lie. So what an awful start to be talking about my lying. Okay, anyways. Let's get started. So, also, if you're watching this on YouTube, hello. If you're just listening on Spotify, I think I'm going to be able to post this on Spotify. This might only be on YouTube. We will see. So, thank you for joining. I need to take a big breath because I'm trying not to breathe into this microphone, but I need to breathe. Hold on. I'm also a little congested, so it's a little bit difficult. Okay, let's get started. So, I literally had to write down all of my jobs that I've had. Let's count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 jobs, and since I was 15, and I'm 19, about to be 20. So, there's a lot to go about. I want to try to keep this to 30 minutes. I don't want to start off too long. I know that these episodes will probably get to lengths of 2 hours, but I don't want to start too long just because I want to ease into it a little bit. So, this is going to be a test to see if I can get this in another 30 minutes that I want to talk about. And there might be 2 episodes. We'll see. Okay. So when I was 15, I started working at Firehouse subs. I started working at Firehouse Subs with best friend Garrett. Hey buddy, hey baby. He's definitely listening. And we thank God I started my employment history with Garrett, because like the 2 jobs I'm about to talk about could not have done without working with him. And you know what? For anyone, if you've never had a job with your best friend, or you've just never thought about it, or you think it might be a bad idea, I could not recommend anything more than working with your best friend at a job. I see no negatives to it. I've worked with, I think I counted this the other day. I thought about this the other day. I've worked with 5 of my best friends at different jobs, I think. Wait, 4. 4. I worked with 4 different best friends. Like, we got the job together. Highly recommend it if you have a stable friendship. Maybe if it's not like on the rocks or something. I don't know. Anyways, so we started working at Firehouse Subs together at 15. And honestly, fun job. The only jobs I'm gonna really government name will be the franchises. But the little small places I'm not gonna name, because I don't know. I feel like that is not smart. So, anywho, yeah, we started working at Firehouse Subs, and we were just, making our sandwiches. It's exactly what you'd think it would be. Like, we literally were just making sandwiches, but because we were 15, because of like Texas laws and stuff, we only could work 3-hour shifts with a maximum, I think, of 15 hours a week or something like that. Maybe it was 10 hours. I don't know, but we were very limited, and I'll give it up for Firehouse, thank you. They really stuck to that. Like, they would not let us work past that, which was really good. And completely different from the next job I'm going to talk about. Can't wait for that one. But yeah, it was so fun. However, Garrett and I were like the only, I actually think I talked about this in a YouTube video, but I want to go more in depth. But Garrett and I, there were like a bunch of other high schoolers that worked there. Not a bunch, but there was a few, good amount. I think I was one of 3 women that worked there, and the other 2 were well above the age of 40. Peace and love. So the dynamic was pretty interesting. And then, Garrett was the only openly, no hate, no shade, openly gay man there too. So like, our dynamic was very fun for the building, I would say. And most of them that worked there, most of the people that worked there were all like older or within our grade, like Republican men. So we had a ball. We had a fun time, because we would just get in heated arguments all the time. Garrett and I both together, cumulatively, we would. And I remember there was like, oh, I shut the camera, sorry. Shit. See, I forget my train of thought all the time. So this is really difficult for a podcast. You know what, we're going to move on, and if I think about it, it'll come back to me. Okay. Anywho, so we worked at Firehouse Subs there for about 4 months or so, and it was like a fun time. I really enjoyed it, honestly. And then we got a job at an Italian restaurant. And if you know me, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know me, I don't want to get sued by this company. So, this Italian restaurant, when I tell you, like, I started there, I believe, when I was 15, like turning 16, very young. I quit Firehouse actually to work at this place, because my other friend, if you're listening, hey girl, she worked there and she loved it. She raved about it. She loved it. She made so much money as a busser, like made so much money. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I want to work there. I want to make a lot of money. Little did I know I would be further traumatized from this establishment for the rest of my life. I am not kidding you. I'm such a dramatic person, but some of these things, I genuinely think I was not being dramatic in these situations of like how they affected me. It literally created issues for the rest of my life. We'll get into those. Okay. So, I get the job at this Italian restaurant. I think I got, oh my God, I can literally hear that I'm like, I think I got the job, And then when I was supposed to start working there, I got COVID. So I didn't work there for like a week or so. Red flag number one, if the job you are trying to get and start working at, if it's already bad the first day of training, like if there's some like mishap that really could have been done different or avoided the first day of training, quit while you're there. Quit before you even get started. Quit while you're ahead. That is something I realized, honestly, with all of these jobs. Like, I think there's been a few of them where, like, if like the very first day that you are working and there's like a huge mishap to where, like, well, for me in this example, there was no one there to train me. So I had to figure everything out on my own. I had to like ask around other servers, and mind you, all the servers, there was a fucking class system at this restaurant. I'm not kidding you. We all know, if you work in the food service industry, you know that like there typically is a class system from like servers, not actual class system, but they're like basically is like a social structure. Servers are on top. Technically, I feel like bartenders are probably a little bit higher than servers, but servers are like top dogs, and then, you know, bussers and hosts are below that. But it was insane at this restaurant, like the class system. And mind you, I was 15, fugly, and depressed, not in a great point in my life. I mean, I don't think anyone's really at like the best point in their life at 16 or 15. Maybe you are, go you. But I already just like not, maybe if I worked at this restaurant when like now when I'm older, I maybe would have had more success there, but who knows. So anywho, sorry, my bangs are fucking annoying me. I'm sorry. So yeah, the very first day of training, there was no one there to train me. So my manager, I think it was my manager, she obviously was busy managing, but she showed me like a few things and then was just like, okay, girl, work. Like, go do your thing. And I was sitting there, if I'm going to if I'm editing this video, I don't know if I'm going to edit or add pictures or anything, but if I am editing me, add the picture of me in my penguin outfit. If you know, you know. If you know me, you know my penguin outfit. I had to wear a black bow tie, a white collared shirt, and black work pants, and an apron that went down to my ankles. And so I just really was not built up for success in this restaurant either, because like at least with jobs, if you can find a crush, the job's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like the job cannot be that bad if you have a work crush or someone you're talking to at work or someone you can flirt with at work. There was none of that at this job for me. Like every job that's on this list, I've at least had like one work crush or someone to talk to. You know what I mean? No one. Because all the servers were also like, I think you had to be 21 to be a server there. So a lot older, hot. Okay, why was every worker there sexy? Like every, Garrett, if you're listening, like, you know, every server there, hot. Like so attractive. I keep like laughing into this microphone, I apologize. Anywho, I'm gonna move on from that note, but hot. So anyways, I was wearing my penguin outfit, and my manager showed me a few things, but I quickly realized on the very first day, oh my god, I'm gonna hate this job. I was like, I'd only worked at one other place before this, so I like didn't really know. Like I still had high hopes. I was like, maybe it'll get better. It'll be fine. I'll be fine. No. And like already at the first shift too, I realized the hours were insane for a 15 to 16-year-old in high school full time, you know? Insane. I got there, I remember this big issue that I would get out of high school at 3:35, I think. And I started work at 4. And I had to get into my whole ass penguin get up. And I had to find, I couldn't drive. So I had to get someone to drive me there. To get my mom to drive me there, whatever. My mom worked till 5:30 as a single mother. Like, I don't even know, actually, I don't know how I got to work ever, actually. I really don't remember how I got to work. But anyways, my manager would be like, you're really gonna show up late. Like, I don't know what she would say, but she would get pissed at us for showing up late. And I'm like, babe, my anatomy homework is due tonight. Like, what do you mean you're mad that I showed up I'd show up maybe 5 to 10 minutes late because I was would go straight from high school, change in the car. And also I had to press, starch, and iron all my clothes before every shift. Do you know how many stains get on a white collared shirt when you're a busser? Anywho, so I got there at like 4, and the first night I worked there, I left at 12:30 in the morning. It was between 11 and 12:30 that night. Most nights, babe, I leave there at 1:30 on a Sunday night. I leave there at 1 on a Sunday night. Had school the next day. I'm not making any legal claims. Not that they're going to find this, because this is not going to go viral or anything. However, they find this allegedly. You cannot clock me. You're not going to get me, bitch. Allegedly. I would they were definitely breaking some child labor laws. Yeah. Broken. They broke that. Allegedly. I've heard. Little birdie told me. Anyways, so yeah, the first night I left really, really late, and I was working, how long is that? Like an 8-hour shift or something for like your first day of work as a busser. I was gagged, frankly. And my mom picked me up, and I remember she was like, "How was it? Like, did you have fun? How was it?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was good." And like my feet felt like they were bleeding. Like I was exhausted. Also, can't sit down once. Like there's nowhere to sit down there unless you go to the bathroom. You best believe I was taking those bathroom breaks. But there's nowhere to sit. So for 8 to 9 hours, you're just standing, which is like most jobs, I guess. But like, not only was I just standing, I was running back and forth at a full running pace. I feel like that entire, like all those shifts, because the bussers carried the weight of that restaurant on their back. We were the underdogs, and no one really I feel like no one appreciated us for the work we were doing. Anyways, yeah, so like just running back, whatever. Couldn't eat. You had to eat before, mind you. Like I told you, I would come from school at 3:35, get there at 4. When was there time to eat, babe? No time. But you bet. I didn't think I was gonna get into this part of the video this early, but Garrett, I'm gonna expose something that Garrett and I used to do. There's a lot of things we used to do. One of them, I think I'll talk about in an episode once I'm 21. You can put the pieces together on that one. But one of the things we used to do is, I'm not kidding you, this is how bad and desperate we were for food or just like any piece of enjoyment. It was an expensive Italian restaurant. It was a nice Italian restaurant. If someone would leave their food, I'm gonna throw up thinking about this. If someone would leave a plate of food that they didn't finish, just like they leave, there's 2 slices of pizza like left there. Garrett and I would take that shit. We would go to the very back next to the trash cans and swallow it whole like we had never eaten a piece of food in our life. I remember there was one time there was a charcuterie board that was left, and I took that and I ate the little cheese and crackers like a little mouse as quick as possible, because it's, I took what I could get. If I could have any bit of an enjoyment in the form of food, I was going to do it. Would I ever do that at any restaurant or do it ever again? No. That's disgusting. Don't do that. And you're shamed upon if you do that. However, it was in a point in my life where like that was the least of my worries, was eating someone's leftover food. I had bigger fish to fry at this job. That's like, I can't believe I actually shared that, because like that is really gross. Anyways, so yeah, I immediately knew I wouldn't like the job, but I didn't want to accept that, so then I'm gonna just kind of summarize the first 2 weeks. I don't remember how many days a week I would work. I feel like it was a lot. Maybe it felt like a lot just because every shift was so long and miserable, but I'm pretty sure I worked a lot. I think in the first 2 weeks I probably worked like 40 hours, but the shifts were really long, so it might have just been a few days. I don't know. Anyways, so first 2 weeks I'm like miserable. I'm like already hating the job. And then my first paycheck rolls around. And if you remember correctly, I got this job because I heard I was going to make bank. I don't know what a 15-year-old really needs, like a $600 check for, but I wanted it. So I get my direct deposit, right? And I wake up I'm like, tomorrow's payday, really excited for payday. And I get that payday. Rolls around, and there is, I think it was $115 in my bank account from the 40 hours that I had worked. And I think you can like realize that's not a lot at all. That is nothing for how much I worked. And I was gagged. I remember I was sobbing. I had a mental breakdown because I was like, I worked so hard. Where's the money? Where's the money? Why did I get this job if I was going to be making this amount? I made that amount Firehouse Babe for 3 shifts, you know? So I text my boss and I'm like, hey, I think that you cut me short a little bit on the money, whatever. I remember I texted her something, and then or that was in person, I can't fully remember. I told her, and she was like, no, that looks right. Whatever. The hysterics that I was in after this. Like, I was about to quit. I honestly should have there. I should have. Another red flag. If your job is constantly messing up your paychecks or messing up your payment, get out. Get out while you can. Anyways, so a few days later after this whole incident, she texts me, and I have the text screenshot. I had like so many screenshots of just like really staple moments at this job. She texts me and she goes, you're right. I do owe you for 16 more hours of work. I still think it was more than 16, but still, she admitted that she was like, you were right. I still owe you for 16 more hours of work. And I was like, okay, thanks. Awesome. Finally, I'm heard, you know? And then the reason at this job why you made so much as a busser was because of tip share. And it was an expensive restaurant. Servers were making incredible tips. And all those tips, you know, a certain percentage would go to the bussers. That's really where the money was, because our hourly was probably like between $2 and $5. I'm pretty sure. I think that's like the normal thing. I can't remember what our hourly actually was. I don't know, but not a lot. But the tips would be the money makers, you know. But because she messed up on my paycheck, the tips had already been evenly distributed out to all the other hostesses and bussers of the group. Meaning there was no tips to be distributed to me because they had already been evenly distributed out. So because of her mistake, because of the restaurant's mistake, I made no money the first 2 weeks, and I worked so hard. So I was so upset. And I really should have quit there. So, you know, these shifts were awful. I'm already at 23 minutes, and I said I wanted to be 30 minutes. So I'm gonna summarize a few more things. So I'm gonna say a quick few stories that just really like stand out to me. My favorite ones. There's plenty. One of my favorites is, it's like actually insane. So like I said, me and Garrett, and then other friend Adriana, if you're listening to this, hey girl, we all worked there together. We didn't work too many shifts together, but there was this one shift we worked together. Obviously, like if Garrett and I were working together, I didn't have to worry that much. You know, at least I had him. Like, even though the shifts would be miserable and I wanted to die and leave or something. I cannot tell you the amount of times I almost inflicted physical pain on myself so I could leave to go to the ER so I didn't have to work. That was a dark sentence, and I went there, and I'll say it again. You know what I mean? Like, that's how bad it was. Anyways, me and Garrett and Adriana were like standing in the little hallway or something, and we're like kind of standing in a line while we're talking, and our manager comes up to us, and she's like talking to us, whatever, and she goes, mind you, we're all wearing the penguin outfits, but Garrett looks a little bit more normal because it's like typically an outfit for a more masculine person, which sometimes I am. That's another story. I don't know why did I say that? I don't know what that meant, and I don't know why I said that. Okay, anyways, we're standing, and my manager's like, Adriana, and Adriana, if you're listening to this, I really hope you know this part. She, like, Adriana, you're stunning. She's a stunning girl, okay? And she could still rock the penguin outfit. She would make the penguin outfit look good, right? I, however, did not, as we know, as I was told, basically. So she was like, Adriana, you're too pretty to be a busser. She said, we're going to make you host next week. We're going to make you host. The hosts also are part of the social class hierarchy of the restaurant, the hosts got to wear dresses, and be like, hit on by all the creepy old men. What a pleasure, what a privilege. But they were, part of the higher class system. Busters were really at the bottom. It went busters, hosts, servers. And she was like, babe, you're promoted to host. And I was standing there right next to her after she just said, you're too pretty to be a busser. And I was standing there in my penguin outfit, like, and that was one of the first times I've gotten called ugly, like, basically to my face. Usually it's just like more of an internal thing, but that one was really, said by someone else. So yeah. Okay. I fear there's already been more technical difficulties. I had to pause. Basically my camera died and I didn't realize through filming. So if you've been listening to the last, I believe it's been about 6 minutes or so, there is no video footage. If you're on Spotify, it doesn't matter for you, but YouTube, I will have to put a blank screen in my dialogue. So we're just going to be past that. I don't really want that to stop me from this episode because I think I've had a great time speaking so far, and I don't want to have to refilm this because I literally will go fucking manic. I've had to record this multiple times. Okay, anyways, moving on, carrying on. So yeah, my manager told me I was basically ugly to my face. I was like, okay, great. No, like, speak your truth, mama, yeah, it hurt a little bit. it hurt, for sure. Still working through that one. Anyways, and if you're like, no, she didn't mean you were ugly, she just meant you weren't pretty enough for a host, it still hurts. It still inflicted some pain on me, Anyways, we're gonna move on. So, that was one of my favorite stories. There's absolutely worse, though. Another one of my favorites was, one time, so on Sunday nights at the restaurant, we, as bussers, were expected to dump out the bar buckets. The buckets at the bar that fill up with various alcohol, liquids, ice, straws, fruit, garnishes, whenever drinks are left over, they just toss it in the bucket. And as bussers, we were supposed to take those buckets all the way to the garbage cans. And these garbage cans, for some reason, the trek from the restaurant to the garbage cans were actually, like, I could only describe it as far as, like, if you walked across if you walked the length of the Nile River, that's what this, like, walk to the dumpsters felt like. It's comedic how long this walk felt. It wasn't that far, but it's far when you're carrying heavy things, and all throughout the shift we're walking to these dumpsters because, they're throwing out stuff all the time, constantly taking out the trash, whatever. And so Sunday night, we all dread it. I actually don't remember if this was specific to Sunday nights. I don't know why it would just be specific to Sunday nights. I don't really know, but it was. So, the funny thing is, though, is I was the only busser. Typically, I think there was 2 bussers every shift, maybe 3. Sometimes 1, and this was the time it was just me. Me being the petite, short, small, little, frail being that I've always been, it was a little bit of a struggle to bring 2 bar buckets. These are so heavy. So, like, imagine, like, Home Depot buckets, right? Like, that's that exact size, but then just filled with liquid, like water. So, it was a little bit difficult. I have to burp. I'm so sorry. Hey, don't even stress that you didn't even hear it, so it doesn't matter. Okay, anyways. So I had to walk to the dumpster alone. And I could have just brought them out one at a time. That would have made things a lot easier, and I probably could have avoided what happened. But I brought out both at the same time, just trying to be efficient. Like I told you, the walk was brutal. So I go to the dumpsters, and me being the smallest, petitest little thing, if I lifted up the bucket over my head, I could barely reach where I was supposed to dump it in the dumpster, if that makes sense. Like, I was too short for the dumpster because I'm so minuscule. And I'm lifting it up over my head, and the bucket starts to tilt towards me. And this is like one of those moments in life where just like everything flashes before you, and the bucket fell on me, and the entire contents of the bucket spill over me from head to toe. Like I told you, it was like I was holding it above my head, and it tilted and spilled entirely down me. And also, like I told you, we're wearing white collared shirts. So, yeah. You could see my bra. For sure. For sure. And not only that, I was literally covered in syrups and alcohol. I smelled like every alcohol. I smelled like a damn frat party. And I already was not really killing it in the looks department, you know, in this outfit, and then just being drenched and smelling of alcohol, and my hair was wet from it. Like, it was like a movie, you know. So I walk back in, and I'm like in tears for sure. If I remember correctly, I definitely was crying. And I walk in, and also it was probably, you know, 11:30 at night on a school night, for sure. I wanted to be at home. I wanted to be sleeping. I wanted to be in the bath. I wanted to be getting ready for school the next day. But no, I was at work until 1 a.m. and I was covered, drenched. And my manager and the bartender start laughing. Maybe I kind of chuckled alongside them, but for the most part, it was pretty clear I was not laughing with them. And they start laughing, and she's like, "Oh my God," like, and I was like, "Just let me go home." I was like, "So can I go home now?" Because, you know, it was closing. Like, it wouldn't have been crazy to go home. No, she didn't let me go home. No, she made me stay drenched in the syrups and various liquids and continue the shift. So, yeah, that one, you know what, now actually telling it, I'm like, okay, it's not that crazy, but it just, like, everything feels a lot more traumatizing, at 15 and 16, I feel like. Whoa, that was kind of dark. Okay, anyways. Yeah. So, there are probably 26 other stories I could tell about this restaurant, and about all the other jobs I have. But I'm going to do a part 2 to this, I think, because I'm already at 33 minutes, and I, frankly, am kind of tired of hearing my own voice. So, with that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you enjoyed. First episode already had technical difficulties, but they will not stop me. I'm still going to post this, and I will do better next time. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope we get to chat more. Thank you for listening to Let's Chat. See y'all next time.